Hello everyone, just popping on for our daily live while in self-quarantine. Today is March 23rd. Just gonna wait till everyone is able to pop on. Just 1 second, give it a few moments here. Just say hello whenever you pop on. Just give me like a heart or let me know that you're here, who's on. I'll give everyone a few moments just for popping on. So Rainey is watching. Hi Rainey. Yeah, I'll give everyone a few moments here. So today we're going to talk about tips to settle the monkey brain and master anxiety while on self-quarantine. So we've been trying to pop on daily as a clinic just to kind of offer some tips, some home tips without everyone having to rush out and purchase supplements and things like that. Although we are still open and available to mail out supplements, but you know, in this time there is many things that we can do at home that are lifestyle changes that are often not done. And in lieu of that, we'll do a quick supplement just to try to avoid making the deeper changes. Well, now that I have everyone pinned at home, we can make the deeper changes. So that's really a perfect opportunity to do that. So if you're watching live today, tell everyone on your Facebook feed that you're and host a watch party that you're watching live with Brio. We are trying to be of service and be popping online every day, Monday to Friday, with a masterclass on Saturday, just to kind of answer questions, help offer any additional support that we can during this time. So just, let people know that we're live, and if anyone misses the video, we will have it recorded on our Facebook and try to email them out too. So we have a team on it. We're working really hard behind the scenes just to make sure that everyone feels supported during this time and in whatever way we can. So the monkey brain is so basically what we're going through is highly uncertain times. It's uncharted territory. This is a time where our security is really infringed upon, is being challenged. Our security is in the body is the root chakra, the first chakra. The first chakra is the root chakra, which is our security and our safety. And also where that's located is the adrenals. So the adrenals are the little glands that are on top of the kidneys. And the adrenal glands are basically our fight or flight gland. They are responsible for so many things, so many processes in our body. They're the king gland. Often I say whenever somebody has a health issue and there's what seems like many issues going on, it's often the most simplest to boil it down to, because it's usually the adrenals that are the most affected. So in the time of fight or flight or high anxiety or monkey brain, the adrenals are definitely affected. So the monkey brain is just those ruminating thoughts, anything that's just, fight or flight, hypervigilance, watching the news nonstop, thinking the worst, fear state of the future, can't stay present. Those are all monkey brain thoughts. Can't shut thoughts off at night. Almost can't function in the daytime to be present enough to know what's going on. Your kids might be talking to you, but you can't actually even hear them. You're not present. Somebody has shared something with you and you almost can't hear it. You're listening, but you can't hear it. So that's often can be a product of the monkey brain. So the monkey brain is a protection mechanism. So what is really going on right now? Yes, there is so much fear and anxiety collectively. There's a lot of uncertainty. Many people are fearful of job insecurity, family security, and then there's loved ones that we are separated from temporarily and worried about their health and their safety, their their immune system. So there's just so much going on. Perhaps some of us even have loved ones working on the front lines, so worried about their safety. Perhaps we have loved ones working in the grocery stores and what they're exposed to and what they're coming home to. So there's so many unknowns, so the brain will go into overdrive. This is a protection mechanism. So our body tries to, when it feels helpless to the external world, will go into the mind, which is often a fantasy factory. There's many, many thoughts that occur there, 70 thoughts per day, and very few of them will be true, except for what's going on in front of your eyes right now. So when the fantasy factory is kicking into high gear, we need to recognize what's happening. It's a protection mechanism because our mind goes into trying to help by controlling. And it thinks that if it can control the outer world, it's helping and it's trying to be helpful and make us feel safer. So Jatinder just logged on. Nice to see you again. So it's trying to feel safe by trying to control the external world. There's so much going on externally, so if I can watch the news, research as much as I can, know like PhD level about the virus and the immune system, what supplements I should be taking, all this, and what the recent stats are, just over consumption is really a trauma response, an attempt to try to control. So the body is trying to be very helpful, but it's not a helpful way to, it's not helpful. So all of this outer external control is not helpful. We actually can't control anything outwardly. What we are told is basically going to be told within one of the news hours. So choose a time that you wanted to watch. I always say probably 6 to 7 is the best. It might be the most up-to-date news for that day. So choose that time, and the rest of the time try to avoid social media, try to avoid checking the news, try to avoid Google, and try to repeatedly figure out stats and situations. Just surrender to what is present. What is present in the home is what you can do to make yourself feel better, what you can do in the home, the schedule you can create with your children or yourself, as much as you can do to make your immediate surroundings feel safe. That is the only thing we can control, and even more so than even the immediate surrounding, it's that inner feeling that we feel. That is the goal to, that's all we can control, is the inner mind. So one of the ways to really counterbalance the monkey brain is deep breathing. So I talked about this in one of the first lives when we went live, I believe on Wednesday. But deep breathing, and I mean the diaphragm breath. So most of us breathe like emergency breathing. We're breathing from the top 10% of our lungs. We're often breathing from the mouth. We are holding our breath when we're watching the news. We are holding the breath when somebody addresses us. We are holding our breath when somebody talks to us. So multiple times per day, we're stopping our breath, and that puts us into a fight or flight state. And that holding of the breath puts us into a fight or flight state. The breathing shallow keeps us in a fight or flight state. The breathing from the mouth can also put us in a fight or flight state. So more people are popping on. Feel free to show that you're doing a watch party with Brio, just to share this message. This one's important about calming the monkey brain. So breath is the way to combat the monkey brain. It is very difficult to have the ruminating thoughts and deep breathe at the same time. This is also an old pattern. So right now, all this fear state is, yes, what's going on externally, but our fears that we didn't deal with, regarding security, trauma, past issues of control, those are all actually resurfacing right now. So there is much fear in all of us that is resurfacing, being brought to the surface, and it's matching the external reality of the fear. So it is possible to go through this time being surrendered, being totally 100% compliant with self-quarantining, staying at home, hand washing, proper hygiene, but it is possible to be calm and in a peaceful state. when that inner work has been addressed. But usually that heightened fear state is because it matches the inner world. So there's a lot of unprocessed trauma that is just resurfacing right now. I see it day to day in my clinic when patients come in with a symptom or a diagnosis or a lab test that is out of range and there's something to address. That same fear state is there, but it's just one person and it's one individual visit. Right now, it's all the collective going through that uprooting of those deep-seated fears and unprocessed traumas being brought to the surface now as a collective. So we all feel it as a group. So it's intensified because the world is feeling it, everyone around us is feeling it. So whatever we're feeling is not brought to us externally, it is there already. It is heightened by what's outside already. So one way to start to peel back layers of fear is deep breath. So doing deep breathing, the reason why we stop our breath is because of those old patterns of fear and trauma and the way we used to collectively or individually deal with perhaps our upbringing, perhaps just stressors in the home. The child will learn to deal with stressors and traumas in a certain way. And holding its breath is something that the toddler will learn. The newborn probably doesn't do that, but there's a time where that breath reflex changes, and it's usually after, it's about toddlers, so maybe 1 or 2. And then holding the breath starts as a subconscious reaction to fear state, stress state, panic, unprocessed trauma. The child doesn't know how to process the trauma, so then the holding the breath starts, and we just continue this. I had tons of unprocessed trauma just being having life-threatening asthma, and when I have done tons of work, tons of naturopathic medicine work, and then I trained with a breath practitioner, and he noticed within a second of meeting me that every time I was addressed, whether it be one-to-one or in the group, I would hold my breath. So I didn't realize that throughout the day I held my breath the entire day, and that's a perpetual chronic fear state that I kept my body in. It's a fight or flight state that was just basically my natural way of being, and it was a huge reprogramming to start to learn to breathe. It felt very unnatural. It felt almost like I was going to actually suffocate. But what I always tell people is nobody died from breathing. It does feel very unnatural when you are used to holding your breath. So daily, it's just catching it. Are you watching the news? Are you clenching your jaw? Are you not breathing while you're watching? Are you talking to a friend who's perhaps going through something? Some feelings are uprising for them. Are you holding your breath for them because you feel like maybe you're listening more, you're more empathetic if you're holding your breath? It's not helping anyone, and your goal is to listen to them, but keep breathing, keep the breath circulating, and allow the diaphragm to just pop your belly out and relax. And so you can do it through your nose, in and out. That would be the best, the most ideal, because the breath is actually filtered through the nostrils, and it is a line of defense against any airborne bacteria and viruses. It's more ideal than breathing through your mouth at this point. Breathing through your mouth therapeutically for breath practitioner training and breath work sessions is very, very good. But right now, for what we're going through, breathing through the nose is a retraining. So it really is difficult to adopt a proper breath practice and have the monkey brain. So you can't even create a laundry list. You can't create lists while you're breathing properly. It's very difficult. So it's one of the best ways to pop out of here, and the goal is to get you in your body. When we're in that fight or flight fear state, everything kind of goes upwards and we're locked into here. And to get ourselves into our body, breath work is one of the best ways. The second way to get out of this monkey brain state when it happens, again, we're all locked in here and it feels so real. When that monkey brain is active, it's very hard to discern what the real intuitive voice is saying, the intuition voice, the deeper knowing, and the monkey brain voice. Because most of us don't know that there's a different voice, a deeper intuition. because we're ruled by the monkey brain as is. It's just not as heightened day to day. So the monkey brain, to know the quality of it, it has a timeline to it, and it has a bit of a frenetic energy to it. So anything that's like, I got to do this now, if there's a timeline attached to it, you know it's from the monkey brain. If there is a, let's wait and see, let's see, maybe tomorrow, let's do this, let's try this in the home, see if it works, and if it doesn't, we'll try something else. When there's no timeline attached to it, and it's a bit of a slower, thoughtful kind of rolling out of a plan or an execution of something that we should do, that is more from the heart space. When there's an urgency to it and a bit of a frenetic energy, you can feel it, it comes from like a higher place, that is the monkey brain. So you can stop and listen to the monkey brain kind of play out, let it exhaust itself a bit, and then you can listen to the deeper voice, because there is a deeper wisdom. But movement helps that monkey brain too. So to get out of the monkey brain, movement will help. So if we are still able to leave the house and it is safe, you have someone to watch your kids for 45 minutes, you're able to go outside on the streets and you're socially distancing, you're doing everything with the utmost care of how they want us to conduct ourselves whilst out of the house. Go for a walk, get inside your body. If you can't go for a walk and you have a patch of backyard, walk in your backyard. You could even walk barefoot. That allows you to ground into your body a little bit more, touch the grass. If you can't walk, you can just put a chair out and sit on the grass. If you at home have a skipping rope, you can just do a little bit of skipping. If you are into dance, you can have a little dance party with your kids. They're thinking that you're entertaining them, but you're actually trying to get out of your head and into your heart. And after moving, you'll feel that these 70,000 thoughts are starting to reduce a little bit. So that's another way to get out of the anxious brain. It's just about breaking that pattern, because it really wants to help. So another way to combat the monkey brain is to journal. So if you don't have a journal with you, you can type notes on your cell phone. You can write an email to yourself on Google Documents, or you can write it on Microsoft Word, or even an email and then delete it if you need to. But getting those thoughts out, because a lot of the times the thoughts just want to be acknowledged, they want to be heard, and if the mind feels like you're not listening, it will repeat, because it wants to ensure that it's keeping you safe and you've listened. So when you write something down, the mind knows that you've heard it, it's there, you're not going to forget it, and it can start to ease up on that thought. But even after that, there's more to it. So this part of the brain that is going off, that is really ruminating thoughts, that feels anxious, it's a part of you that's actually really trying to help. It's trying to help protect you. So we have to recognize that. And as I mentioned, there is a part of us that's usually it's uprooting old wounds. And so while this monkey brain is being really triggered, and it could be different triggers throughout the day, you can stop, do a few breaths, and ask yourself, how old do I feel? So how old do I feel right now? There's a part of you that this fear state originated from, and it could be a 3-year-old little boy, a 2-year-old little girl, and you can tune in and feel it. So feel how old do you feel right now. I feel like I'm 8. This feels exactly like the time I was at school and my mom didn't pick me up because she forgot. She thought that the neighbors were gonna pick me up, and she was at work and she forgot. So that triggered a fear response for that child. That child didn't know what was going on, and then it goes into ruminating thoughts. So that very much could be re-triggered right now at this point when there's a security issue, a safety issue. Does that make sense? So if you put some hearts up, let me know if that makes sense. But it's re-triggering an old thought. So you can ask yourself, how old do I feel right now? You can say, I feel 8 years old. You can ask what was going on at 8. Sometimes you'll get something, sometimes you won't. But you can journal what the memory that pops up is. It's very important. And then ask yourself, what do you need right now? Because we really are still wounded children on the inside, and that part needs really a lot of love. So ask yourself, what do you need right now? So I need, and try to make sure that it's not a substance. So I need a glass of wine, I need some sugar, I need a cookie. That's a way to numb the feeling. The part of you might just say, I feel scared right now and I really need to feel heard. Okay, great. So can you write this down and actually read what the words that are being written are? Can you feel them without running to do something externally, like taking care of something else or pushing that feeling down? That feeling just really wants to be acknowledged and heard and felt. So it wants to maybe just feel like it needs a bit of a timeout in the bathroom. Maybe it needs to take a bath. Maybe it needs to take a shower. Maybe it just needs to read a little bit. Maybe a nap. But the feelings should be felt because it feels scared, it feels abandoned, and it needs to know that you've acknowledged these feelings. You can write them down and sit with yourself. You can have a couple of deep breaths, hand on your heart, hand on your belly, closing your eyes, and just feel the feeling until it actually passes. So we spend our entire lives with these deep-seated feelings and fears. That 8-year-old issue was not just put here because of this pandemic, it was there all along. And we really set our life up so we are just on the go, run, 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 run. If that feeling comes up, we want to run as fast as we can to not feel it, because we think if we feel it, that feeling will just never go away. And all it wants to do is be felt. Sometimes it's a maximum of like 15 minutes, and all it just needs to be felt and integrated, heard, accepted with love instead of irritation and frustration and just being like, oh, just get over this. That was like when you're 8 years old. How can that even be an issue still? So that, if you think about, if you talk to a child like that, I don't think they would feel very heard. They wouldn't feel very safe. And that would turn into an internalized way of processing emotions that probably wasn't the healthiest. So if we talk to ourselves like we would our children or a child, think about that part of you, which is a wounded little person. And just love that it's trying to help you, love that it's trying to keep you safe. You can tell it, you basically have to be its parent. You can tell this part that you're doing every measure correctly, you're following all the guidelines, you're safe at home, you are making sure that you're on top of the news once a day, the family is safe, and thank you for trying so hard to keep the family safe, and I'm sorry you felt abandoned, all that stuff. So just talking to this part until you can feel the peak, and then it will recede in because you've received it and heard it and received it with love. So each of these parts, each of these anxieties usually have an origin, but we just spend our entire lives running from them. If we can feel them and integrate them with love, they won't just keep resurfacing and running our lives. So these fears and anxieties run our entire life, so we're really not free. We are dictated by our past traumas and programmings. So take this as a beautiful time. It's a forced time to go within. We have to stay inside. Take that as a symbolism of going within and integrating these parts that basically run our lives 24/7. And as you can integrate them with love, you'll feel more sense of space. You'll feel peace. You'll feel calmness where there was chaos. The home could be chaotic with like kids running around, but you'll feel a sense of peace and space. So it's an awesome opportunity, if you are able to do it, to just really receive this part with love, because it's trying really, really hard to actually help you. And most of us just greet it with irritation. Today I'm also going to post on our Facebook group. I talked about this, I believe, on Wednesday on how to deal with the adrenals and fear state, and one of the points I made was routine. And one of my colleagues and one of my good friends, Dr. Yo La in Toronto, she was kind enough to put her family routine up on her Facebook group, so she mailed it out to me, and I'll upload that. And she just has a set routine, but it's for 7 and 10-year-olds, so that's the only caveat, is her kids kids are a bit more independent, but they're two self-business owners. So her and her partner, Jonah, who's also one of my amazing friends, they are both business owners. They have a clinic, and then they have two girls at home. And they created a schedule, and even when you see her Facebook lives, like, there's just peace and harmony, it feels like, in the home, because they are meeting their emotions, they are integrating them, they're feeling them, and there's a routine schedule. So it's all about meeting the emotions. For example, I talked about on the masterclass on Saturday how, I should be going into a trauma state because of the blood, sweat, and tears it takes to build a business, run a clinic. Unless somebody's a self-business owner, they don't really understand. It takes basically a pure passion project, and to have it halted suddenly, it was something I actually didn't process, and I went straight into marketing and how can I serve. So created this whole marketing of Facebook Lives, put up all the newsletters with my team. So I went into pure action mode. I was exhausted. I was working so hard, and the clinic was temporarily closed already. And so yesterday I had some time to be still, and all these emotions came up. So these emotions came up. I let myself cry for maybe 45 minutes to 60 minutes. I didn't attach a story to it. So it wasn't about, oh, this person did that, or I feel like this, or whatever. The point is to not attach a story and let the emotion flow through. Ask, how old do I feel? What do I need right now? I felt safe. I wasn't in a terror state. I didn't have any feelings of feeling unsafe about the clinic or whatever it was. I trust that whatever is supposed to be will be. I have peace regarding what's going on right now, but I did allow myself to cry for an hour, and it was deep, and it just didn't come from right now. I do know that I process what I feel for other people too, and often I've always done this through my own body. So what I was crying for was also not entirely all mine. I was feeling for others, and I didn't put a story on it, and I just let it happen. And so one of the most healthiest ways. Other times when I would feel pain, it would be, so I had to do a lot of work on my fear state. When I would feel pain, it was like something I couldn't handle. I would have to call people. They would have to kind of talk me out of it and just almost gaslight my feelings. Like, don't worry, this is happening, so other people are going through this, or we'll make this, we'll make that. And it's like, no, I just need to feel. So, it was one of the most healthiest ways to date that I've dealt with. Judy said she had a good cry yesterday too. Yeah, I had another friend say that too. There must have been something in the air. And Judy says, I love the idea of a routine schedule. The first few days at home felt really lost, but today started back in a routine, feel much better. Yeah, the adrenals love routine. And so to process your emotions, if you need to do it by yourself, do it by yourself. If you are able to have someone process with you, I would say set the stage by asking them, I just need to feel really heard right now, and I don't want you to fix this for me, and I don't want you to, Kelly also said she had a good old cry yesterday too, or Saturday. So I think it's, settling, it's something in the air, and a great release. Yes, I felt great after too. I feel great today. But when you are talking, when you need to process, you have to preface everything in your life, set the stage. It's the boundary. Boundaries are also adrenals. So you have to take care of yourself and teach other people how to treat you. And so when you need to release, ask that the person just hears you, that they hold space for you, and they don't try to fix your problem. When they try to fix your problem, they're usually doing it because they can't feel your pain, and so they're trying to actually get over their pain of feeling what you're feeling. So it's almost a selfish way of interaction. And then the person who's expressing just wants to be heard, and they don't feel heard either. So it's really a dysfunctional interaction. It's very codependent. It's very much how parents deal with children, because it's too hard to feel their pain, but then we do it into adulthood, and it's very unhealthy. So ask whoever you can, to just hold space for you. I just really need to release. I need to talk about what I'm feeling, and please don't try to fix it. And an easy response, if you're on the other end of it and it's hard for you, I hear what you're saying, and that must be so hard to go through. Just listen. Just say, I hear what you're saying, and it must be so hard. It will almost immediately detonate that person's feeling. The person who's expressing will feel heard, and the person who's on the receiving end has to do their work too, because those feelings that are being brought up from listening is their work too. So there's a lot of work that we can all do, because when somebody tries to fix the problem, it is very dysfunctional. So a lot of cultures do that. I know I grew up in a culture that anytime that you express feelings, it's like, I'm going to fix it for you, and somebody else has it worse than you, and we'll get over this by doing this. And it's just, it's good to have feelings. It's actually the most powerful and the utmost strength to be vulnerable, and it's not at all powerful to keep feelings in. That's a total false way of being in the world. And the most powerful we can be in the world is to feel and to process through our bodies. So that's the ultimate strength. So having someone to hold space for you, no judgment on what you're feeling, and you just set the stage of how you want to be treated. You ask the person, please hold space for me. I do not want you to fix this for me. I just need to express, and I need to feel heard. And then if you're on the receiving end, like I said, you got to do the work too. Why couldn't you hold space for that person? And why couldn't you feel their pain? Where does that come from? Where does that discomfort in you come from, that you can't see somebody else in pain? Because it's not about the other person at that point, it's about your discomfort, and that's probably a way that you were, that's a way that you were your entire life. It ends up being, a people-pleasy kind of thing, so lack of boundaries. There's a lot that can be healed during this time. So anytime there's a pain, it's not the other person, it's for ourselves to look deep into. And the irony is not lost on me that we are stuck at home inside, and we are being asked to go inside, which we as a society spend hours upon hours trying to avoid doing daily. Anything, we'll do anything. Some people may not like what I'm about to say, but some people even have kids to avoid what they're feeling. Because when you have kids, you are so busy. And it's an awesome distraction. But eventually when they leave the home, all that stuff that wasn't dealt with will come bam and hit you in your face. So it never goes away. But there's a way to deal with it even when you have kids, before you have kids, at this time right now. Even if you have 5 minutes of little pockets of time to go in and journal, whether it's on the toilet or in the bathroom, if you can sneak away for 5 minutes, just start to feel what's going on inside. So that's really what I wanted to pop on again for the anxiety and the monkey brain. Yeah, and Kelly says it sure does. There was something here. So Teresa says, my anxiety is kicking in big time. I'm going for a walk, but it seems like such a chore even to get out of the condo to go for a walk. So again, that will be the mind telling you don't go for a walk, because it's safer just to sit at home. So it'll make it seem like really difficult even to go for a walk. But if it's safe, when you're, if it's following all guidelines and you are able to go for a walk, tell your mind, thank you for your thoughts. We're going to just go for 5 minutes and we're going to feel so much better. Yeah, any questions about supplements, you can call the clinic. We're still open. We are still taking phone consults, so you can do that. If you need a one-on-one with any of the practitioners, we are sending out remedies. And Kelly says, yeah, what you resist persists. It absolutely does, and the emotions know no time and space. Subconscious mind is where they're held, and subconscious mind doesn't know that you're no longer 8 or 2 or 3 months old, and if those feelings are not dealt with, they will come up at a certain point, whether it's 64 or 68 or 72, those emotions will still be there, and they will have to be dealt with. So the subconscious mind is where they're held, and it doesn't have time or space. It doesn't know age. A lot of us say, oh, that was so long ago. I should be over it by now. It's not how the mind works. It is, I think, our life school to be able to process these emotions. Are we able to do it? This is a school of life. Are we able to do it? That's what we're being asked to do as we navigate this life together, is to feel emotions, to be able to connect to our heart, to go within. We are a society of 1,000,000% external. So looking externally for everything, looking externally for validation, looking externally for how we feel, looking externally for answers, for education, for entertainment, everything. And right now we're being asked to go internal, which is really the true knowledge, is connection to self. And that peace comes when we're connected to self. And the more disconnected we are, I find personally, the bigger the suffering was. So the more we can start to become connected, the suffering will ease. That's really what I wanted to talk about. Does anyone have any questions or comments before I log off? I always go way longer than I intended to. I wanted to just pop on quickly because I figured I'd been on like 4 times in the last 5 days, that a quick 20 minutes would be good, but here we are at 40 minutes. So does anyone have any quick comments? Does everything I say make sense today? Talking about the breath, turning off social media, movement to get into the body, and then journaling. The number one question you want to ask is, how old do I feel right now? And then give that part exactly what it needs, as if it was a little child. You would not be mean to this child, hopefully. You would not dismiss it. Kelly says, thank you. Yeah, you're so welcome. It's so our pleasure. I think Dr. Jeff will be on tomorrow at 4 p.m. Just check the schedules. We're updating our newsletter daily. We're working super hard to keep you guys in the loop. Judy says, it's always great to hear your amazing teachings. Oh, thank you, Judy. Yeah, it's a transmission. It's just, a transmission of energy. And what we heal, really, you can feel it when a person has done work. You can feel it. Like I said, I haven't gone into fear state during this whole time. And Nero says thank you, but I did have a lot of emotions, and I cried yesterday. There's no story attached to it. I just cried. It was amazing. It was a good release. And I so appreciate your guidance. Of course, that's what we're here for. Donna just throwing up some hearts. Amazing. So if anyone has any last few moment questions, Kelly Emler says thank you. You're so welcome, Kelly. Anything else? The last few moments. I had an idea. I wanted to share this with you. I don't know when I'm next talking. Oh, my next talk is Thursday, which I want to keep that one because it's a good one. And I think we have 2 weeks of talks, but I wanted to tell everyone right now, and maybe I'll put it in the newsletter, for my next talk after the one on Thursday. I don't think I'm on the schedule after that, but for my next one, I wanted to assign a homework. So I thought this would be really fun, because it's about energy, and it's about the transferring of energy. How many people have Netflix? So how many people watching? If you have a star, or do you have access to an account? If you can give a heart, do you guys have Netflix? I wanted to, if you had Netflix, and I'll send this out in the newsletter too, this was a different idea I had. Instead of just always lecturing, I thought we could all watch something together and then talk about what we watched. So what I would love for you to watch is on Netflix, season 3, so there's lots of hearts and likes, so I think a lot of people have Netflix. So season 3, so Jatinder has Netflix. So season 3, if you could watch the first episode by, I think her name is Jiang Kwan, and she has one of the most incredible, cinematically beautiful hours of TV that I've seen, and her story about, I won't even give it away, but watch that Netflix, and then we can do a Q&A on it, and we can all, like, I would suggest you guys take notes pertaining to this pandemic, what we're teaching here about the anxiety and the monkey brain, and tell me 3 main points that you guys learned from that Netflix. Season 3, episode 1 by Jiang Kwan. I think that's her last name. I know it's JK something. But take 3 points that you have learned from her and how you can integrate it in your life while you're in the self-quarantine. And it's about food, but I'm not saying just about food. It can be, that principle that she's teaching can be applied everywhere, all the time, 24/7. So if you guys are up for that, that will be super, super fun. I'll rewatch it too, and I'll write my points. And either we'll do a little bit longer than 20 minutes, but I thought we could talk about that. So I'm going to pop on again on Thursday to talk about how to move stuck lymph while at home. That's one of my favorite topics, is to do home techniques to move the lymphatic system. But I'm not on the schedule after that. And when I am on the schedule, it will be for this for this topic. So Kelly asked, what's the show called? It's called Chef's Table. It's on Netflix. And there is the 3rd season, episode 1. She is a female monk, and it is like stunning. The picture is stunning, but the story is fascinating. It is incredible. I relate to what she says in my practice day to day, and how I conduct my one-on-one sessions. And we can use what she teaches in this quarantine, and we can use it every day. So how about we collectively do that as homework? I think it will be super fun. So watch that, write down your 3 points that you learned and how you can integrate it in everyday life during the self-quarantine. And then my hope is that you take all these tools, because everything that we're sharing is an opportunity to become a master in your life, which means repetition until it becomes second nature. And what she's sharing, she is an ultimate master of her energy. She is an ultimate master. So that would be super fun, I think. So it won't be next week's talks, but I'm working on topics for the week after. If you guys have any topic suggestions, I'm going to come up with the 2 weeks following. Just fire off an email. But next time I pop on, not on Thursday, but the time after that, we'll do the Chef's Table Q&A. That will be awesome, I think. So Jessie says, my 8-year-old is my coworker at recess. I have to report what I accomplished. That's awesome. So Jessie says, my 8-year-old is my coworker at recess. I have to report what I accomplished at work and get a sticker. If I don't look at Facebook or the news, it works for me and my monkey brain. Got lots of stickers today and so much Reddit. That is awesome. So Jessie's coworker and her accountability buddy is her 8-year-old, and she has to report back to her, and I'm assuming them to each other. So that's awesome. That's the way she combats her monkey brain. So it can be fun. You can turn this into a fun game. But also, Jessie, if you have the bandwidth and the space, try to also look at the origin of this monkey brain. Like, when are your thoughts starting to race? And if you can feel how old you are at that time and what your body's trying to do by racing the thoughts, because it's usually a protection mechanism, that is also part of the gift of the monkey brain. So thank you guys. Always awesome to pop on. I always have so much fun. Hopefully the videos aren't too dark. I know my place can sometimes be like a bat cave, but hopefully it's bright enough. But I'm excited. I'll see you guys Thursday. The rest of the week's talks are going to be awesome too, and the week after we'll work on it. And in the meantime, watch that Chef's Table. It's so good. Write down your 3 points, what you learned. If you can write down 5, that would be even better, and how you can integrate them in your daily life during the quarantine. And then it won't be just me talking when we're doing that one. We'll all share. So that will be an awesome one. So keep an eye out for that. That's your homework. In addition to all the other lifestyle factors we're throwing at you. All right, everyone, have a great rest of your day. Keep breathing, using your diaphragm. Journal is your best friend. To get it out of your head is like so relieving. Ask how old you are. It's the best question ever. How old do I feel right now? Anytime, you can ask it. Anytime an anxiety passes through, how old do I feel right now? Thank you guys. Have a great day. Stay safe. Stay quarantined. Wash your hands. A lot. 20 seconds. Okay. Bye.